Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa man ba'd. Honorable Chairman Professor Ihsan Karaman and professors and all of distinguished participants, I am delighted to stand in front of you all, and I would like to thanks to Committee of ISAR, and I'm honored to be invited in this precious symposium. My presentation title is the position of fundamental fiqh concept across the process of fatwa making on medical issues, Indonesia's experience. Yeah. My presentation will be divided into two steps. The first is introduction, and then 5 principles that what MU applies in fatwa making. MUI or Majlis Ulama of Indonesia, we translate in English Indonesian Council of Ulama, was initially established in July 26, 1975 as a non-state organization of Islamic scholars. Also as the only organization in Indonesia which assembles of all Islamic community organization and Islamic education institutions. Nominally an independent NGO, non-government organization, the MUI has always had a complex and mutually dependent relationship with the states, which have expanded MUI's former role in the state system for the administration of Islamic legal tradition. As not as a part of the government, the MUI acts an interface between an Indonesian government and the Muslim community. Also, the existence of MUI is legally recognized by several regulations of the government. Also, MUI issue some certificates. Yeah. The first is halal certificates for all halal products. That's foods, beverage, cosmetic, pharmaceuticals, and clothing. And also, MUI is the president of WHFC, World Halal Food Council, with 57 halal certificates bodies from 35 countries. And the second is issue certificates on Sharia approval for Islamic financial institution and other business institutions which comply to Sharia principle, like banks, insurance, multi-finance, pension fund, capital market, hospitals, hotels, and so on. And this kind of certificate issued by Dewan Syariah National Syariah Boards is also part of the Majlis Ulama Indonesia. And the third is a professional certificate of halal auditor and certificate of Sharia supervisor. Instead of preferable to consider the Shafi'i school or Madhab Shafi'i, both in methods, manhajan, and opinion or qawlan, MUI in official is not binding by any certain schools of Ahli Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Therefore, from this frame of reference, we stand on to solve many issues. The main topics issued by MUI, the first is fatwa pertaining to faith or worship, and then pertaining to national strategic issues, and the third pertaining to legislation, the fourth pertaining to halal products, the fifth pertaining to science and technology, including health and medicine, and the sixth pertaining to Islamic economics and finance. And these fatwas issued by Dewan Syariah Nasional, DSN, National Syariah Boards, they are also part of the MUI. And then the seventh is society, culture, and politics. MUI applies many kinds of process to solving these issues and the good of the world and hereafter. Yeah. Yeah. So MUI have main principles that we use in many issues that we discuss in fatwa commissions. Yeah, the various kind in such a process are: the firstly is a principle of al-akhdh bil akhwat. It means take the more careful and prudent, and then al-khuruj min al-khilaf. It means exit from disputation. Using the rules of take the more careful and prudent and exit from disputation is for matters of faith, worship, and halal products. So the ikhtiyat way or akhtiyat means careful, caution, prudence, and thoughtful are absolutely necessary in these cases in order to avoid fall into polytheism, heresy, degradation, doubtful, and prohibited or haram. Apart from that, the preventive principles, sadud dhara'i, are also very important. This methodology teaches to interdict or opportunities of good things to bad things that are forbidden by religions. This is to prevent slip into things that are banned by Allah and His Messenger. And secondly, the issues related to mu'amalat and all its derivatives, MUI put forward the use of the maslahah principles. Since the contemporary mu'amalah issues perennially evolve and can be divergent in every time and region, mu'amalah issues mean all things associated with human life, not just economic and finance, but also including politics, culture, medicine, technology, and so on. With this approach, so every turn be sought of the legal cause or illah, different point of different opinion, or we call as mahal nuza', as well as the impact of maslahat and its expectation. Maslahah in terms of maslahah ammah, which is goodness, happiness, and usefulness for human being. So it is not only means maslahah mursalah as used by Maliki schools. However, this maslahah criteria should not contravene with the verses of the Quran and al-Hadith. Those are already literally fixed or qat'i, nor should it contradict to the consensus ijma' al-ummah or ijma' as-sahaba, consensus of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ijtihad by considering this kind of maslahah is now widely used by a fatwa institution in the Islamic world. So, and let's begin to the first principle that MUI applies in fatwa making on medical issues. The first principle is al-maslahatul ammah. Maslahah covers benefit, virtue, safety, prosperity, happiness, and the good of the world and the hereafter. Basically, the purpose of the implementation of Islamic Sharia is for the benefit of humanity itself, namely in the form of benefit, happiness, and goodness for life in the world and happiness for the hereafter. The benefit will also apply and be felt for almost people, not just individual, nor get maslahah to the parties, but at the same time cause harm. Maslahah ammah theory is the most important theory which considers that where there is beneficial, that is where Islamic Sharia is. Many topics discussed as well as contemporary problems that can be solved with this perspective. So this theory is also widely used by nowadays jurists. Therefore, it is applied by MUI scholars in discussing fatwa on contemporary issues, including medicines and technology. Maslahah ammah theory takes place as a principle compared to the methodology of maslahah mursalah, which the latest is one of the easiest methods are disputed by scholars, or we call it al-usul mukhtalaf fiha. The method of maslahah mursalah was used by Imam Malik and his disciples, also some Hanafiya scholars, because its closeness to the theory of istihsan. Maqasid Sharia is the underlying purposes and the wisdom of Islamic law contained in most or majority of the cases for which realization the law is legislated. So as the objective of Islamic law and need to be achieved for the benefit of humankind. In fact, Al-Imam Abu Ishaq Ash-Shatibi states that the general objective of Sharia is very important in divining the specific evidence. Therefore, those who take the specific text from the Quran and Al-Hadith without referring to the general principle of Sharia are obviously wrong. In other words, Maqasid Sharia on its own does not constitute a source of law or principle of jurisprudence. And then also in this principle of maslahah ammah, the general objective of Islam was established as take in the benefits or virtues and avoid the harmful or destruction. Jalbul masalih wa darul mafasid. The following principles should be considered as follow. It means two kinds. The first is darul mafasid muqaddam ala jalbul masalih, fan of harmful prior to taking benefits, as the basis of fatwa. This is also consistent with another legal maxim dealing with the jurisdiction of the ruler and is required the condition tasarruful imam ala ra'yah manutun bil maslahah, which means the authority of the ruler over the rules once is made conditional on the enhancement of public welfare. The acceptance and consideration of the maslahah is that it should not contradict the Quran, Sunnah, Ijma', Qiyas, and that it should not leave out another maslahah of greater significance. And the second is maslahah or interest must be related to category of daruriyah, haji, and tahsiniyah. For the core of objective in Islamic law is to realize both globally and the hereafter. On this basis, then Solar said, Haisuma wujidatil maslahah fasama syara'ullah. Where there is a benefit, there is where the law of God. The benefit for people are not the same from time to time, and many varieties, so that the benefit is always evolving and changing in accordance with progress of time. As an example is the fatwa, MUI fatwa in the year 2011 concerning the use of halal animal placenta for cosmetics and external use medicine, which states that the use of placenta from halal animals is permissible as long as not from animal carrion. Also fatwa in the year of 2013 concerning genetic engineering and its products, genetically modified products on food products, medicine, and cosmetic, where these things are permitted merely on condition that genetic engineering products provide benefits and not endanger. Besides, the origin of gains in genetically modified product is not illegitimate. Related to the topics, it was issued fatwa of National Conference of the MUI in the year of 2000 concerning cloning technology. After prohibiting cloning technique in humans, the MUI allows cloning of plants and animals as long as give benefit result and avoid harmful goods. Similarly, fatwas related to reproduction, which allows to carry out the necessary action for the benefit of humanity. As in 1979, fatwa on baby stoop or artificial insemination, and then in the year of 1987, fatwa on the retrieval and use the heart valves for patients suffering from heart disease. And then in the year of 2007, concerning the use of human corpse for research purposes, this is also permitted. And then the decision of Ijma' Ulama in the year of 2018 about health standard of istita'afal pilgrim and about use of blood plasma for medical use. This is for an example that we cited and we quoted from the commentary Solar, Nazih Hamad, wa bima anal plasma laisa laha launu dam wala ta'mu wala tasami'u fiha sifatu wa khasa'isu wala tusama dima. Plasma has no color or taste of blood, various properties and specify a blood is not fused in plasma, so that plasma cannot be named blood. Also, plasma is a component of blood. This is we use for the plasma, for the fatwa on plasma. We apply the maxim also that the maxim is stated al juz'u la ya'khudhu hukm al kull. Take part of things not automatically means takes things as a whole. And then the second principle that we use in MUI is i'adatun nadhar. I'adatun nadhar means resumption to consider. It means we heed what ulama had decided in the classical area. Afterwards, we are thinking again whether it's relevant or not with our contemporary topics. So we are not merely depend on judgment of previous ulama in the Middle Ages. Something that preponderant opinion in the past perhaps would be feeble opinion recently. So we continuously reconsider any legal opinion of classical ulama to fit with what we are going to conclude on contemporary issues, particularly in medical and health issues. Also, Islamic law is marked by a significant degree of both breadth and flexibility. Consequently, it leaves ample room for reasoning and interpretation in attempts to reduce rulings appropriate to a variety of situations. So then reviewing, even criticizing fatwa is common things to do by ulama. Like Imam Shafi'i reviewing his own fatwa in older opinion, we called Qaul Qadim, and replacing with new opinion or Qaul Jadid. Also Abu Yusuf, one of the Abu Hanifah closest disciples, reviewing Abu Hanifah opinion, and Asyuti reviewing Shafi'i opinion. So thus the MUI, especially in matters of medicine and technology, is not reluctant to dig new conditions. We also re-examine the opinions of the previous ulama. It could be an opinion which in the past has fallen apart, or we call marjuh, but due to changes of time and place, it is now being steady or rajih, likewise vice versa. We also have no hesitate to review the fatwas of MUI itself when we find the same issue with different characteristic, or when we get another more appropriate argument from the Quran and Sunnah. For instance, fatwa were issued concerning on alcohol or ethanol, which common people often equate with khamar. In 1980s, khamar is determined by MUI is every intoxicating we consume. This is definition of the khamar. But in the 1993, MUI defined that khamar is all kinds of alcoholic beverages regardless of alcohol level or alcohol content. So drinking it is haram little or much. Since year 2009, when MUI fatwa stated that the definition of khamar is a form of drinks and not every intoxicating substance we consume, we have standed on its opinion. This based on what Prophet Muhammad said, kullu sharabin askara fahuwa haram. Every intoxicating drink is haram. And then Ibn Abbas opinion, Ibn Abbas radhiyallahu ta'ala anhuma qala hurimatil khamr bi'ainiha wal muskir min kari sharab. Prohibited liquor because of its substance and any intoxicating drinks. Therefore, from this definition, liquid medicine are not included by its definition. Since someone take liquid drugs only for remedy purpose in strict limited dose, while khamar can be drunk anytime and at any amount. Meanwhile, MUI fatwa in the year of 2003 mentions about the minimum level of alcohol to be recognized as khamar, liquor or wine, that is 1%. Moreover, the beverage containing ethanol below 1% as a result of man-made fermentation is also haram. This last opinion refers to Saddu Zari'ah method. Nevertheless, MUI fatwa in the year of 2018 determined that khamr is a drink with alcohol content at least 0.5%. It was decided after MUI conducted a numbers of research on the fermentation of grapes, apples, dates, and fruit juices. Also studies on alcohol level in human blood plasma to measure the bottom line can cause hangover. So in this principle, i'adatun nadhar, that we review our fatwa MUI revised its fatwa 5 times. The first, that we determine khamar is every intoxicating that we consume, and then the second, khamar is only drinks, and then the third, we determine the khamar is alcohol content at any level in drinks, and then the fourth is the alcohol content is 1% and above, and then the last, the alcohol content is 0.5% and above. Yeah. So this is what we use the principle of i'adat an-nazar. And then the third principle is avoiding darurah. Darurah means necessity or distraction, perish, disaster, catastrophe, or harmful. Yeah, this is one of the most important method in fiqh principle to solve so many problems. There are 2 major maxims or qaidah usuliyah in darurah. The first is ad-dararu yuzal, injury must be eliminated. And then the second, al-masyaqqah tajlibu taysir, severe hardship begets easiness. So darurah referred to fiqh terminology, not merely in terms of etymology or just scientific judgment terminology. In terms of time it happened, darurah not only when darar was occurred yet, but also strongly predicted to be occurred. Like we determine khalful halak awid daratu syadid ala ahadi daruriyat lin nafsi awil ghair yaqinan aw dhannan. Fear of the occurrence of destruction or injury in one of the fundamental aspects, whether of concern for oneself or others, either convincingly or predictably. From the definition, it can be concluded that there are 4 keywords, namely oneself, put from linafs, and then others put from al-ghair, and then yaqinan, convincingly or certainty, and then zonnan, predictability or possibility. So from the keyword of oneself or linafs consideration, MUI issued fatwa on abortion meningitis vaccine. From the keyword others or lil ghair consideration, issued fatwa on measles rubella or MIR vaccine, heart valve transmutation, etc. And then the third, from keyword convincingly or certainty, yaqinan, issued fatwa on osteomate, organ transplantation, etc. And then the fourth, from keyword predictability or possibility or zonan, issued fatwa on vaccine, IBAN, etc. Also, as an example, is the MUI fatwa in the year of 2005, when all of polio vaccine was currently produced are not yet fully compliant with Sharia. That is by using the media of the monkey kidney cell culture. Basically, all of the drugs, including vaccine, which originate from or contain najis, or we call field object, or mutanajis. This is the term of Shafi'i school. Mutanajis means objects exposed to field is haram or is prohibited. However, MUI fatwa that OPV vaccine is allowed to be published, since there is no substitute from halal ingredients set. There are many fatwas use the method above, I mean the method of darurah, like fatwa on measles rubella vaccine, fatwa on living donor for organ transplantation, and fatwa on vasectomy and tubectomy.
Dr. Astivare, last 5 minutes, please.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, and then beside the fatwa on vaccination guidelines, there are several fatwa focused on vaccine produced by certain industry. As an example is MUI fatwa in the year of 2018 regarding the use of measles rubella vaccine. Yeah. The team, the government, the Ministry of Health team that seek the proper and qualified vaccine from all around the world, they found 3 vaccine producers. Yeah, the first is Japan MR vaccine, which has been acknowledgement by WHO. Knowledge it is produced for domestic purpose only. And then the second, China MR vaccine, but haven't any WHO approval yet. And then the third, India MR vaccine made by SII, which leaded to mass production and also has obtained WHO recognition. Yeah. In spite of that, the MUA found it contained gelatin and trypsin made from swine. Also, the contact of the particles of porcine during production process, namely like albumin hydrolysate. Besides this, even contains material comes from the human body, namely human diploid cell. Obviously, it became a big problem. On the other side, the prevention of the endemic measles and rubella is a must, as well as to eradicate both disease, and we don't have any alternative so far. Yeah. So, due to overcome this problem in the year of 2018, MUIS issued fatwa about the ability of use this vaccine as long as a replacement has not yet been discovered. Yeah. And then what we consider in fatwa to urgent issue translation is consider important six are summarized. This is from human body as a whole, and part of it like organ tissues or even its cells are belong to Allah Ta'ala. And then the second, human being is the most noble of God's creatures. Hence, his or her existence must be glorified even to the grave. And the third, injuring or even removing human organs and tissues is illegitimate until the upright reason for emergency or for darurah treatment. And the fourth, the organ and or tissues transplantation ensured by the experts that provide meaningful benefits to the recipient. And the last, for living donors will not cause trouble for donors, either any kind of distress, disability, or lack of vital function. And then the fourth principle is istihalah and istihlak. I still have time. Yeah, this is so long to. Istihalah. Istihalah is derived from istahali yastahilu. Yeah. Istihalah means a transformation or conversion of material to other materials, or non-reversible transformation, which involve conversion of the composition properties, including the conversion of filth or najis materials to pure or tahir materials. Yeah. There are two opinions on implementation of istihalah by Islamic jurists. Yeah. First opinion suggested that application of istihalah can be applied into various circumstances, as agreed by many schools. Yeah. And then the other hand, the Shafi'i and Hanbali schools tended to limit the implementation of istihalah in certain occurrences only. And then also the concept of istihlak. Yeah. The istihlak means that is kind of istihalah. Yeah. Kind of istihalah. But there is no trace left in it, any absent from it. Yeah. Concerning this discussion above, the MUI also takes on the concept of istihlak and istihalah concept, but except doesn't admit of najis mughalladh origins. In Shafi'i school, as we know, we have three categories of filth or of najis: najis mukhaffafah, mild filth, and then najis mutawassitah or moderate filth, and then severe filth or najis mughalladha. MUI accept the concept of istihalah and istihlak, but not admit of najis mughalladh origin. This kind of najis refers to canine and swine, including any liquid and object discharged from the orifices, descendants, and derivatives. In this case, the MUI took the opinion of Shafi'i scholars, who absolutely banned the taking of benefits or al-intifa from swine and canine.
Dr. Astiwara, could you complete your
okay.
presentation in 5 minutes, please?
Yeah, and then the last is the fifth principle is about ta'abudi and ta'akuli. It's so many in my paper. ta'abudi and ta'akuli. Ta'abudi is a legal provision in Nas, Quran and Sunnah, which must be effective as in and cannot be reasonable action anticipated, while ta'akuli is reasonable or ma'kulul ma'na. So in terms of tathir, comprise two things need to be well understood. The one is removal from hadas, major and minor hadas is a matter of ta'abudi, beyond the reach of reason. We cannot seek rational reasons pertaining to hadas substance and the rules of its removal. Sayyidina Ali bin Abi Thalib karamallahu wajhah said, if religion is based on merely reason, then when wiping shoes in ablution must be washed is the soles of the shoes, not the upper part. And the second, purifying from filth, Shafi'i schools divide in najis al-fin categories, mukhaffafah, mutawassitah, and mughallazah. Cleansing is a reasonable matter and acceptable religious commandment. Object categories are filth indeed generally perceived as dirty, nasty, or disgusting. To remove the filth until it doesn't leave a mark at all means losing its smells, color, and appearance. So actually MUI take different opinion in this case from the opinion of Shafi'i school, while it moves to another school's opinion, such as Kamal ibn Hulmam from Hanafi school and Imam Ad-Dardir from Maliki school. As an example, it is a fatwa in the year of 2003 and recently MUI issued fatwa on washing industrial equipment was affected by major najis or najis mughalladhah with non-water. We can note here is that major field or najis mughalladhah purification from the derivation of swines or canine is by washing with 7 times water, on which one of which is with soil or dust, or its replacement which has the same cleaning power. So from this fatwa that we put on certain machines and equipment that are affected or in contact with major filth or najis mughalladhah and will damage if exposed to water can be purified by using other than water, as long as filth marks in the form of other taste and color have disappeared. So there are 5 principles that used in fatwa making by Majlis Ulama Indonesia. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay.